It all started now. This day's a turning point in my life. The day I begin living my life from the inside out. And I am transformed. I am transformed. Transform my life. As I took my first step, I learned to achieve such a beautiful world. Such a beautiful world. Such a beautiful world. Such a beautiful world. Illuminates all around me. Transform my life. As I took my first step.
Hi everyone, my name is Mirkovich and I'm your host for Family Today. This program is for everyone. It's for parents, grandparents, and young adults. It includes art, culture, entertainment, and spirituality, and of course, family dynamics. So how many of you would like to become better parents in your family life? And how many of you would like to recognize some codependency issues in your child? Here with me is my guest, Lisa Romano. Welcome, Lisa.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on my show.
Absolutely. I
Yes.
appreciate it. Thank you for inviting me.
So you brought some books,
Yes.
and you're an author, and you teach a lot of people through your teachings. You bring out the best in them.
Oh, I appreciate that. I try to. Yes, I primarily
Yes.
coach people around the dynamics of codependency.
Sure.
And when it comes to parents, what I help them do is recognize codependency symptoms in themselves so that they can parent their children in a way that they can avoid those dynamics happening and showing up
Sure.
in their children's lives.
So what can you tell when you see a family, let's say you visit them and they need your help, how would you recognize that the children are codependent? By their parents, probably, as you said?
Well, codependency, let's just define codependency, because a lot of people,
Okay.
I know
That's
that
a good one. Yes.
when I was diagnosed with codependency, I didn't know I had codependency. And when I was in nursing school, I had heard the word codependent when I was...
You were a nurse?
Well, I studied nursing. I ended up quitting my last year because it just didn't work out for me. But I
Okay.
went through the entire program and took a lot of psychology classes. And I remember hearing codependent, but it was always associated with being married to an alcoholic.
Okay.
So I didn't immediately resonate. Like, how could I be codependent? I don't drink. My husband doesn't drink. How could that be? But when my therapist told me that I was clinically depressed, but that my depression was being caused by codependency, I was intrigued.
Did you know you were depressed?
No.
Okay.
I had no idea I was depressed. I
There's
knew
a
I was
lot of
unhappy. I was unhappy, and I kept trying to make everybody else happy, which made me unhappier because I couldn't make anybody happy, no matter how hard I tried to make them happy.
So you felt a sadness in you?
I felt a desperation.
A desperation?
I felt despondent. I felt hopeless. I was beginning to have panic attacks. And
Oh, that's a good one that you brought up.
tunnel
A lot of
vision.
people, yes.
I experienced...
What does that mean, tunnel vision, for the
Well-
audiences out there, like my mom?
I had literally tunnel vision, meaning that my peripheral vision would go black, and I could literally only see what was immediately in front of me. I had absolutely no peripheral vision, and that was happening to me during periods of complete panic, and it would come on at any time. I was suffering from migraine headaches, and I would get auras, and I couldn't read signs on the road, and I would swerve. I was really falling apart, but I had no idea that it was all tied to being depressed and that my depression was being caused by
Good
codependency.
point. A lot of people out there
And
share that.
I was codependent because I was operating my world and my life in a way that was dysfunctional. I thought that I needed validation from other people. I didn't have a sense of self. So when I would go to my ex-husband and tell him how I was feeling, he would negate it. He would minimize it. He would make fun of me. When I said I was unhappy, he would say, "You have no right to be unhappy. Look how you live." When I would go to my parents, I said, "I'm unhappy." They would say, "You have no right to be unhappy. Look how you live." So I thought that I was crazy.
So you probably felt guilty because of it too. You know, they're telling you one thing and you're feeling another, so you're... Did you feel guilty or maybe not? I don't know.
I felt guilty. I felt ashamed.
Okay.
I felt selfish. I felt crazy. How could I feel this way? Everyone's telling me I don't have a right to feel this way. So there was this disconnect between my internal reality and my external reality. And what I discovered on my path when I learned about codependency was that is, by definition, what codependency is. I had no sense of self. I could not hold on to my own reality. And when I had a feeling, it had to be validated by someone outside of me. And if it wasn't, I felt completely crazy. I felt like there was something wrong with me, which was causing my depression. So I was banging my head up against a wall, thinking I was doing the right thing by being a people pleaser, by seeking validation, and I could never get it. And so when you're trained to do a certain thing to net a certain result, and you keep doing it, and you never get that result, you end up feeling depressed.
So going back to my question, how do you see that the kids today, or children, toddlers could be depressed too, or not?
I don't know. I mean, I don't believe that I was ever not depressed, to be honest with you. You know, I was born to, my mom was 19, adult child of an alcoholic. My father was the adult child of an alcoholic. I could never connect to them ever. I think I always worried about what my mother and father thought about me. Well into my 30s. I was afraid to, it was funny, I wrote my first book. It took me 12 years to write it, and then I met my second husband, and he said, so when are you going to publish it? And I was like, well, I'm afraid to publish it because what's in it might hurt my parents. And he said, isn't that codependent? And I was like, aha moment, like, I have to publish this book. You know, because I have to begin living my own truth. So when it talks about children, if I have a client and we begin talking about their codependent dynamics and they have children, I know that they've already begun programming their children to be codependent. So if you're a wife and you are a people pleaser, and let's say you enable poor behavior in your husband, let's say your husband is violent or your husband's an alcoholic, and you're ignoring it.
And sometimes you're afraid. You could be afraid.
Absolutely.
You could be ignoring it, and at times you could be afraid to stand up to him or question it.
Well, codependents are always afraid.
Yes.
They're always trying to manage the fear. And they think by managing the fear, they have to squelch what they feel. So there's this general anxiety all the time, but they've lived with it their whole life.
So it's like a normal.
It's their norm. And the brain can only do what it's been taught to do. The brain doesn't seek outside. It doesn't look for adventure. It only does what it's been taught to do.
But you went in to look for that, not adventure, but your questions probably in yourself. Because you went to write a book, you became a teacher and a pioneer. You know?
Well, what happened in my life is that, like I said, when I went into therapy and my therapist said, you're depressed, but you're depressed because you're codependent. You're codependent because you were raised by 2 unrecovered adult children of alcoholics.
Yes.
A light
and
bulb
how
went
did you
off.
react to that?
At first, I was confused.
Did it resonate as truth to you? No.
Actually, what happened was I was confused. But I was also really, really excited because there was a name for what I felt.
Got it.
Before I went into therapy,
There was a name for it.
I felt like I was crazy. So to have this brilliant man say to me, you make sense. You're codependent. I was like, great, now I can fix it. And when I discovered what it was, I went to my ex-husband. I said, I know what's wrong with us. We're codependent. And he said, I'm not changing. And I thought, wow, that's so sad because I can't stay if you're not going to change.
You said that to him?
Yeah, eventually.
You had the courage to say that to him?
Not in
Because
the
a lot
moment.
of people don't.
No, not in the moment I didn't.
Okay, all right.
Not in the moment.
So
I was
you went through
devastated.
some, you know, thinking and
Big time. We
discerning.
tried therapy together.
Oh, okay.
We both had a therapist. He had his own.
You
I had
probably
my own.
found it.
And then I found a therapist that worked with both of us.
Okay.
And she saw that he was unable to change, and he was very resistant to changing. And she even said to me one day, she said, you can't go back, because if you do, you'll have a very happy little boy on your hands. So, I mean, and that was,
Oh, yeah.
unfortunately, that was the validation
That will be
I
your
needed.
husband.
Yes,
That will be, the little boy will be, yeah.
because he didn't want to grow with me.
Yes.
And why would he, Maria? I was taking care of him. He didn't have to show up in the relationship. It was, I always took responsibility for the relationship. So why would he want to change?
Oh, so many people are going to resonate with that, what you just said.
Yes. Why would he want to
Everything.
change?
Yes.
And so, but what happened was I realized that I had begun programming my children to be codependent. And I had no time to waste.
Through not of your awareness, you weren't aware of it. when you started to program your children?
I was not aware that I was programming
you weren't,
my children.
not right away anyway.
No,
Yes.
but when I understood.
Later on, when you understood, then you did whatever
I was very
needed
sad.
to be done. Yes.
I was very sad because I thought, oh my gosh, you know, these kids have watched me cater to my ex-husband and his family. They've watched me cater to my family. They've watched me go to my parents' house and shut down because I was afraid they were going to say something that was going to embarrass me or minimize me. I was afraid to not get their approval.
And also, I think women go through a lot of, abandonment issues.
Oh, yeah.
Not that men don't. Women go through abandonment, I believe, a little more because they're nurturers for the children, especially when you have children. And the abandonment issue is a big one that stops you from really acting, towards your good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I believe that a lot.
I think that if you're a conscious parent at all, you worry that if I approach this issue with my spouse and it causes us to get separated or divorced, how is that going to affect my children? Are they going to feel abandoned? I believe that if you go through these processes with the right mindset and you understand what the end goal is, and the end goal isn't to go jump in bed with someone else.
No.
The end goal is not to hook up with another relationship, as so many people do, because they're afraid and they're alone.
That's it. When they're afraid and alone, they jump into another relationship and another and another, and it fails, right?
Well, sometimes, it depends on your definition of failing.
Failing meaning that they're not ready to receive the good.
Well,
or they don't know themselves enough to recognize what is good for them.
I think what happens
Maybe
is people don't realize that until you heal the program or the beliefs that created the marriage
that's what I meant.
in the first place, what happens is you get rid of this partner and you just find another one that has a different last name, but the dynamics are the same. And so by definition of failing, my definition is it never worked. And the definition of working means
exactly. It doesn't
other.
work. Yes, right.
We see each other, and a lot of people aren't aware of that.
And as you said, it's only another name, but the same characteristics could be playing in him or her.
Absolutely, absolutely. Sometimes it's worse.
Sometimes it's worse.
Sometimes it's worse.
I think because God wants you to learn the lesson, or maybe this is the way you learn the lesson. What do you think,
I
Lisa?
think that we come here to learn to love the self.
On this planet, is that what you're saying?
On this planet, I believe that we're supposed to come here and learn that you are enough, and that you don't need someone outside of you.
Oh my God.
Oh, good, Maria. I'm glad it's resonating with you.
Yes, it is.
I think that's the lesson. You come here to learn that you're enough, that you don't need outside validation. And so you will end up in dynamics over and over and over until you finally learn that lesson.
Oh my God.
And you'll feel like you're enough.
I never had tears on this show before, but you really bring out the authentic self in me.
That's the goal. You are enough.
Yes.
But you don't know that, and most people don't. And I think that's why we're born. And so we end up in these situations that are so painful, and they all mirror our abandonment from childhood.
Oh my God, yes.
Until we finally realize there's no rescue boat coming.
So tell me a little, excuse me, tell me a little bit of, how does the program work? How does your teaching work? Maybe you could share a little bit about that.
Well, what happened was after I wrote my first book, I never planned on being a life coach. I really never did. I thought after I got divorced, people need to know that they're recreating their childhood experiences. I married my mother. My ex-husband was very passive-aggressive. He knew that I needed his validation, and he literally withheld it on purpose to keep me begging for more. That's how he kept me in control. That's how he kept in control over me. And so when that light bulb went off, I knew that I had to share this information with the world. So I thought I'd write a book, and that's it. And then what happened was people started contacting me. Can you talk to me? And I didn't realize it. I was life coaching people. And then I wrote another book, which is a sequel. It's called My Road Beyond the Codependent Divorce. So it's a sequel to The Road Back to Me. And then more people wanted to coach with me. So then I finally got certified. And then I was coaching so many people, I couldn't keep up. So then I decided, well, I'll create a coaching program, and I'll coach a large group of people within a 3-month period.
So that's the 12-week
breakthrough.
Breakthrough.
It's the 12-week breakthrough coaching program. And so what I did was I traced back my own recovery. What did I do, and what did I need to know in order to get to step 1 and then step 2? and then I spell it out over 12 weeks, and I actually coach people inside this program. And so every week, people receive a video lesson and a meditation, a PDF that they can download with homework. And they also get to react to one another inside my forum, which is terrific.
Now, how do you get the people? I guess they were looking for your teachings?
Well, I have my own video show on YouTube.
Yes, okay.
So I also have, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter.
Wow.
I have a number of Facebook groups, number of varying support groups.
So you work with them in the groups, and then you have live events.
I have, yeah. So they find me, and if you want to take part in the coaching program, you take part. It's like this coaching program began January 12th.
Yes.
So, and it ended January 26th registration. So all those people that came through the program at that time, I'm now coaching them for the next 3 months within my program. And each week they get a video and then a meditation, because I believe that what's really at play is unconscious. And so I've created, they're like hypnosis meditations that absolutely correct the negative, faulty beliefs that are keeping people codependent. Because watching a video doesn't fix the subconscious programming. But watching the video every day for a week, and then doing the meditation every day for a week, and then you get the second video and the second series of meditations, and you do this over a period of 12 weeks, that's when you can create lasting change. And every single person that's come through my program has said that this program has changed their life.
Do you have anything to do with the 12-step program?
No.
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 You don't believe in it?
No, it's not that I don't believe in it. I think it's very, very beneficial.
It's beneficial?
But I do believe so many people that come to me have come from 12 steps.
Yes.
And they don't feel like it's enough.
Got it.
They don't feel like it's enough.
Sure.
And that's not everybody. And I'm not bashing 12 steps.
No, 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 no.
I mean, I went to 12-step CODA meetings myself, ACA meetings, and I found them very beneficial, especially in the beginning when I needed a support system.
CODA is for codependency.
It was very beneficial.
And who suggested that to you? Who suggested that to you?
Oh, my therapist.
Yes.
My therapist said, you need a support system. Because I
CODA.
felt crazy. There was nobody in my family or my friends that could relate to what I was saying. You know, so I was just unhappy.
So when you heard it for the first time, did you identify with somebody's problems? Okay.
When I first learned that I was codependent and I started researching it, I was really kind of nervous because I thought, how am I going to fix this? There was no book out there to help me to learn how to fix it. It could identify the problem, and that's why part of my mission was I have to figure out how to fix this, and that's going to be my legacy. That's what I'm leaving this planet. When I die, I will have left a way to fix codependency, and I'm happy about that.
Of course.
I'm really, really happy
This is
about
what
that.
God wants you to do.
I guess so, but I feel good.
Yes, good. Oh my God.
I feel good doing it.
You found your life's purpose.
Yeah, and it feels
and
awesome.
And you're very lucky, because a lot of people are striving for that.
Well,
they want to know their life's purpose, and they don't know where to go. They go this way, that way, but it doesn't work.
Well,
so what would you say to find your life's purpose and doing this kind of work, what you do? How could you tell that it's work? This is what God wants you to do on this planet.
Well, first I want to go back to like what you said. So many people are like they're in search and they don't. It all goes back to trusting your instincts. Now, if you were born to people who taught you not to trust your feelings, you cannot be an adult who trusts their instincts. I've coached lawyers who have ended up opening yoga studios because they became a lawyer because their father was a lawyer.
Yes.
And so their whole life they wanted to do something different or bring something special to the world, but they were taught that they're only worthy if they become a lawyer. So a lot of people aren't finding the life purpose because they're not comfortable tuning into the self. They don't trust that instinct. And if you don't trust that, it's really hard to follow through.
Yes.
The only reason that I'm able to do what I do is because everybody walked away from me.
Oh my God.
Everybody walked away from me. And so it was then that I had to dig in deep and say, okay, what is this that I need to do for me?
You're very courageous.
I did it for my kids first.
Yeah. Okay.
I did it for my kids first. I knew that if they were going to be the kind of people that were going to walk around with their head held high, in spite of what society said, then that they needed a role model for that first.
Sure.
So I did it because I love them.
Yes.
That's why I did it. That's what got me started. And then once I saw it worked, and I wrote my books, then people just started to naturally come to me.
And now look at you, you're teaching.
I'm here with you. Look at that. That's awesome. God. Yeah, so it's amazing. It's been a nice journey.
So you were talking about this meditation.
Yes.
You have various meditation,
yeah.
or this one that you really suggest to people
Yeah. Well, if you
to
go to my
rewire
YouTube,
their brain, kind of a thing, to just go
you have
to
to fix.
rewire, to become a different person.
Yeah. Well, you want to become the person that you were meant to be.
That you are meant to be. Yes, thank you.
And the only
Lisa.
way you can do that is to confront ideas that are in opposition to that.
Yes. Yes.
So if you were raised to believe that you were unworthy, then you need to know that you are worthy, and you need to know why you feel unworthy. So my subliminal meditations address that.
Oh, they're subliminal.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're recorded with brainwave technology.
Or brainwave meditation. Yes, yes,
So
yes.
it helps bring people into a lower brainwave state so that they're
Yes.
susceptible to the information.
Yes.
So that also helps their brain to become more accepting of these new ideas. And if you listen to them for more than 6 weeks, you'll see a significant change in your life. I mean, people on my YouTube channel that I've never coached privately have said, I did what you said. I listened to your meditation once in the morning and once at night, and I cannot believe the changes in my life.
So you would suggest it twice a day. Would that be
Yes.
sufficient? Yes.
I think it's important. You start your day. I always tell everybody, you have to set your intention for the day. Most people are not mindful enough. They get up in the morning at 7 o'clock and they did exactly what they did the day before.
Yes.
And then the same thing shows up and they wonder why.
Yes.
If you want something different, you have to do something different.
People are afraid to take risks too. They say something, like a lot of people will say something in the evening and they say, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow, the day comes and they don't do it. They get scared. They're saying, what's the use? Do you come across those kind of people?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
as a life
of
coach,
course.
we're all about goals.
Yes.
As a life coach,
Yes.
we're not therapists. We don't listen to people just talk about the problem. We set goals for these people and we pull them through. And it's very
But you
important.
do listen to them from their childhood
Of
issues.
course.
You go a little bit, in the,
Absolutely.
what was the past.
Absolutely.
And I probably, you detect that right away in them. But still, they need to speak it out.
Absolutely.
And then identify the problem. And then you could take, you could definitely.
We have to find the pattern first.
Yes.
And then once I help my client see the pattern, a lot of, I believe, autocorrection begins to happen. If you're someone who allows other people to influence you, let's say you have an idea and you really believe in that idea, and then
Yes.
you share it with someone, they go, oh, that's not a really good idea, and you go, right, maybe that wasn't a good idea. And I'm coaching you, and I see that pattern evolve, whether it's you spoke to your child, and they kind of like got you to change your position, or you talk to your mom, or you talk to your sister, your husband, and I see a pattern of you negating what you really wanted. I show you that. I help, well, this is the pattern I see in you. Once you see the pattern, it's like, oh, aha moment. I never even realized I was caught in that pattern. So a lot of autocorrection begins to take place on that level, just by making someone aware of a pattern that you see. But below everything is this idea that we're not good enough. And if you don't feel like you're good enough, you can't hold on to your idea.
And you're not worthy enough.
You can't hold on to your idea. And we are worthy.
We are worthy.
We are worthy, absolutely. No one is more important than you. And you're not any more, and no one's more important than you.
I like the way you speak to people and you call them my dear ones.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
My dear ones. I think
Yeah.
that's so loving, so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, I call everybody my dear one.
My dear ones, because we are all one.
We are one, and we're all very special. And if you're a child that was raised in a family that ignored you, you feel unseen. And so in my YouTube videos, I really feel like I'm talking to one person. I could be talking to 1,000 people at one time during a Facebook. I also
Sure.
do Facebook live streams.
Oh,
And sometimes there are thousands of people on Facebook at one time. But in my head, I'm just trying to hone in on that one person that's grown up
Yes.
feeling invisible their whole life.
yes.
They need to feel seen.
So what would you say to the audiences out there? We have about 5 minutes. How to reprogram or take care of their children in their family lives?
I think the best thing that you can do is understand that you are a model for your children.
Oh,
So what you
Absolutely.
do and how you feel, so if you're unhappy and you're lost in trying to figure out how to make yourself happy, then your children won't know how to make themselves happy either. They might just settle for what shows up. So really addressing your sense of unworthiness and fixing that and getting to the point where, wait a minute, I am unworthy. I was just taught to believe I wasn't. It's just a belief system.
yes.
and identifying that hole in the wall. Now that you know that there's a hole in the wall,
hole in the wall.
you don't know. Most people don't. Most people feel unworthy, but they don't ask why. A lot of people drink, but they don't ask why.
Why?
A lot of women are bulimic, but they don't ask why. A lot of people cut themselves, but they don't ask why.
Yes.
A lot of women are love addicted. Men are love addicted. They can't stay alone for more than 5 minutes, but they don't ask themselves why.
Why?
I ask why. And usually at the end of it, there's a sense of unworthiness.
So the bulimic part, see that I wanted to touch on that. I know that this is a family program and a lot of people are going to benefit maybe from your expertise. Bulimia is something that you see yourself as not worthy or not good enough.
Not good enough.
Not good enough.
Not good enough.
Not good
and
enough.
you identify, society says, well, if you look good enough.
If you look this slim,
Yes.
you're going to be it. But
Yes.
then people get overboard and they are they're skeletons already and they still say that they're fat.
Well,
So-
because there's an addictive process and there's a habit that's formed. It's been ingrained. And once the brain is habitual.
Yes.
And so once the brain identifies this behavior with pleasure,
Oh,
it's
yes.
very difficult for the brain to stop because the opposite is true. The brain is running on pain versus pleasure. So if the brain has this idea that being thin is pleasurable, the brain is actually driven to do things to keep the being from maintaining their weight. And that becomes a pattern of thought. Now the brain also associates fear with gaining weight. And the brain is wired to avoid pain. So you're literally wired to avoid the pain of gaining weight. So it's not a matter of will. It's really a belief system.
It's not a matter of
No, absolutely not.
It's your belief system.
People are not crazy because they can't stop making themselves throw up.
Yes.
They're not crazy.
So we must teach our children, so they don't become, as you just mentioned, bulimics, hurting themselves.
That's right.
What else?
We as women
gamblers.
have to stop putting ourselves down.
Yes.
I'm so fat. I'm so ugly. I'm getting so old. We have to stop infusing our children with this idea that we are not good enough. Because if we keep talking about our weight and how we look, then our children are going to be very, very self-conscious and associate the idea that they need to look a certain way
Yes.
in order to be worthy.
Well, even today, children, they say, "Oh, I'm going to eat salad because I'm getting my
Yes.
belly." I'm like, where is this coming from?
Society, it's
Society,
not their fault.
it's yes.
It's
So
not their
even the
fault.
parents, don't need that
Yeah.
much candy. Not because it's not going to be good for them. Sugar is no good. It's going to give them, acting out things and stuff. But they might gain weight. They're so fixated on this with
Yeah.
children, with little children, and I'm amazed when I hear that.
Yep.
I really amazed, meaning discouraged, really.
We really have to check ourselves. We were talking about
Yes.
earlier between you and I privately about being
Yes.
self-aware.
Yes.
And a lot of parents, unfortunately, are worried about what other people think about their parents. And so if you're worried about your kid being the chubby kid and how that's going to reflect on you,
The parents shouldn't be saying, "No, you're too chubby. Kids are gonna make fun at you in school." That's a toxic thing to say to a child.
that is, there's
Yeah, but people-
a healthy dose of common sense.
Yes.
It's going to all start with how the parents
Common
feel.
sense
Yeah.
today.
It's not so common.
No.
But it all comes back to parents developing a healthy sense of self and really teaching good eating habits versus
that's it.
making it about what they look like.
That's it. That's it. That's wonderful.
And health. Make it about health,
Make it about health.
not about
Thank
the
you,
way they look
Lisa.
and worth.
Oh
Thank
my
you
God,
for
I could be
inviting me.
talking. Oh my God, thank you. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste, dear one.
And thank you, dear viewers, for joining us. Next, we will have a great show for you and your families to enjoy. So until next time, goodbye for now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
It all started now. Could not figure which way to go. Saw the light. Took the path of least resistance. Rendered by my own. Accept the truth about